Hello everyone, Joshua Gillespie here, and it's time to talk about the second episode of the first season of The Muppet Show, Connie Stevens and Sesame Street. This is The Muppet Show Vlogs. The story of this episode is Gonzo brings in his old teddy bear because he wants Hilda to repair him. Unfortunately, Fozzie Bear overhears this and thinks they're talking about him.
I say that bear is the worst thing I have ever seen in this theater. Why not get rid of him?
So throughout the episode, Fozzie listens in more and more and really thinks that everyone hates him.
But he's a nice bear. Come on, I don't care if he is moldy looking. I like him.
Did you hear? Only Gonzo likes me. And he thinks I'm moldy.
So at the end of the show, he decides he's going to leave, though he's told it was all just a big mistake and is asked to come back.
Oh, you mean then you really want me to stay on the show?
Of course I want you to stay on the show. You're a star. You're a legend in your own time.
So, what do I like about this episode? Last time I talked about Miss Piggy debuting her obsession for Kermit the Frog. This time, we see the other side.
Piggy, have you met Lydia?
No. Have you met my left fist?
While it isn't the traditional "Hiya!", it's still nice to see a good old punch to the frog's face. Another thing I like is the inclusion of Sesame Street characters. For those of you who don't know, Kermit the Frog was on Sesame Street up until, I guess, when Disney bought the Muppets. So it's nice to see them bring some of Sesame Street to the Muppet Show, even if it's only two characters, Ernie and Bert. We also see the debut of the Swedish Chef and the Muppet News Flash. Now, the Swedish Chef was in the original Muppet Sex and Violence pilot, but this is where he becomes Swedish and not Japanese. One thing I really like about this episode is the plot. Even though it was added later, like with the last episode, this is a really funny idea, and it shows just how much everyone cares about Fozzie and how much nobody cares about Gonzo. That's one thing I wanted to point out about this overall season that I really don't like is Gonzo's just too sad. Yeah, he does his crazy acts like usual, but, you know, he gets upset and he gets mad and he yells at everyone, and that's not the Gonzo we know and love. This episode also includes the classic Muppet song, Sax and Violence. Again, like you and I and George, I'm not going to spoil the ending because it's just too much fun. Find it on YouTube and have a good laugh. This is a tiny little detail, but this episode has one of my favorite Kermit faces. That is the face of, "This stupid bear is stealing the girl I'm trying to flirt with." But what don't I like about this episode? While it's not as obvious as the last episode that this was really reworked, there's one little part where you see Fozzie's original puppet and hear the original voice they used. But thankfully he's singing, so it's not as noticeable. Also, we see Wayne and Wanda appear, who had become one of the funniest parts of the first season, and they don't get to sing. That just disappointed me. Again, like the last episode, there is very little involvement with the guest. I understand that this plot was put into the episode later, so obviously she wasn't going to be there to be part of it, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more of Connie Stevens. She gets 2 musical numbers as opposed to Juliet Prowse's 1. But she's only in 5 scenes, and Juliet was in 6. So, overall, what do I think of this episode? While it isn't a bad episode, like I said, it's not as obvious that this was reworked. If it wasn't for the plot, I would say just watch some of the sketches, but the whole story of Fozzie and the teddy bear really saves this episode and makes it worth watching. Okay, Okay, 2 down, 118 to go. I'll see you all next week on the next Muppet Monday.